Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome to the HSA podcast. I have a very good friend, Coach Allan Glunt, head coach at Rebuff. I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself, but I've known this guy for about a decade now. We coached together when we were both coming up, and very proud of him. I've been keeping an eye on him from a distance, and texts, random texts, congratulations, and has had a very good career. Coaching career, building up Rebuff. I don't want to say from the ground up, but you've had some. Yeah. You guys, you've done a great job of maintaining, but also building upon what you have. But Coach, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Where did it all start? Where are you from, and where'd you play, and how'd you get here?
Yeah, so I grew up in Sheridan. So I'm a Hamilton County guy. I grew up on a farm. My parents are farmers, so a very manual labor.
Explains the work ethic
upbringing.
you have.
Yeah, and spent some time at Franklin College. I'm a Franklin College grad. I played down there for Coach Prather, and then ended up working on his staff for a little bit as a student before I got out, and then actually started my high school coaching career at Rebuff. That was the first place I ever was.
Really?
Before I got into education for work, was just a lay coach for Andy Fagan, who's was then at Cathedral after that, was a state runner-up at Cathedral.
Great coach, by the way, legendary coach.
Love him. And again, he's a guy that, he didn't have to take me on. I was whatever I was, 22 years old, just kind of showing up. But had an opportunity to work as a lay assistant at Rebuff for 5 years. Went back and got my master's in school counseling. That's what I do at Rebuff now, at my day job as a school counselor. So I got that done. About 5 years into my coaching career. While I was doing that, I actually left Rebuff. Was on Scott McClellan's staff at the time, who's at Noblesville now.
Where was that?
So I was at Rebuff with him for 2 years, and then when he left and went to Western Boone, I went with him. I wasn't working in the school at the time, so as a lay coach, I went to Western Boone for 1 year with him. And then from there, as I was getting my master's, I actually ended up on staff at Wabash College while I was doing that with Antoine Carpenter. Antoine was the head coach there. His assistant was Jesse McClung, so I got to know Jesse, who's at Valpo now. I got to know him really well there. Was on Antoine's staff for 1 year. That turned over, and I was on Kyle Brummett's staff for a year, who's still there now. So I was an assistant there while I was finishing my master's. Got done with my master's, and then had an opportunity for a counseling position and on staff again at Rebuff with Todd Howard. And so I went back to Rebuff, and I was there as JV coach for 6 years. Worked in the school as a counselor, was on staff there. We won two sectionals when I was there. One of them was COVID year, so we didn't get to play in the regional. We won sectional twice when I was there. I then got the head coaching job at Tri-West.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I was out of Tri-West for a year, so I left Rebuff, was at Tri-West for 1 year. Todd left after that year, left Rebuff. It reopens, and the relationships that I built there kind of gave me an opportunity to kind of get back involved there. I ended up getting the job and coming back. I was only at Tri-West barely a year.
Yeah.
Which is it's just like a freaking, like a fever dream. It was such a weird thing. It was a strange opportunity that presented itself. But I had done in two different stints, 11 years at Rebuff, and kind of cut my teeth in coaching and did a lot of my relationship building and formation there. And a lot of the same people were there. So I super fortunate to have an opportunity to come back, and so now I'm back as a counselor there. I'm wrapping up year 4 there. We'll be going into year 5. Won our first sectional championship. They ended up winning the sectional the year I was at Tri-West too, with Todd, and that was Billy Smith's class. They were really good that year. So we won our first sectional championship in 4 years. First one that I've been a part of as a head coach. That makes 5 years as a lay assistant, 6 as a full-time guy, 4, so 15 of the 18 to 20 years I've been out, I've been part of that community in varying roles. So while I didn't go there, I'm not necessarily from that. Like it's kind of my second home. It's kind of who I am, that community and that school. They've been really great to me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man.
So I've kind of been winding around a little. I kind of end up back at the same spot. I kind of told people maybe I should quit leaving. It's my third time working there, but it's great. It's a really great opportunity, and I think we've got some serious momentum going. Again, to your point, in a place that has had historic success, and and what I stepped into, as Todd transitioned out was he'd done a really great job there. I mean, he'd been really created a lot of stability during his time there, and so we've been able to, fortunate enough to transition in there and not really have to start from scratch in essence, but just to continue to develop and change and mold and the mindset that we're creating, I think, with our guys is really generating a lot of ownership from our players in that, which I think is really important to me. And so I really love where we're at. I love what we've got coming back. We have a chance to be really good from a talent perspective. We also have a chance to be really good with a group of guys who've invested a lot in what we're doing, and so it's an exciting time for sure.
I know a lot of kids that I can't say a lot. I've had a handful of Brebeuf kids, Cameron being one.
Yep.
And it's interesting because when they come in, you get honest conversations when you're here, and just the amount of how much they talk to you well. Like, hey, Coach Allan. I don't know if they call you Coach Glunt or Coach Allan, but every time they come in, Coach Allan's doing great. Relationships, and something that I think a lot of parents miss, and a lot of players miss, is that relationship of, hey, guess what? You may not have gotten that job or whatever. You may have left. You could have burnt that bridge, told them where to stick it, left, and then come back and you're like, oh, well, we remember how you left that. And leaving things in a good situation. I was at the Final Four, and this is digging into the player development side and wrapping that up in this. I was at the Final Four, and I was running a college event for some college coaches, and a dad comes over. I know this kid has been in my facility once or twice, but I don't actually know him. And so all these college coaches are there. I had 5 or 6 kids working out in front of them trying to get some looks. And we end up, the dad comes over and goes, hey, can my son come over and work out? I'm like, I don't know him. He goes, well, I've worked out with him forever. He's really good. I'm like, yeah, I hear that, but I can't vouch for him. And I think a lot of high school parents miss that opportunity of like, hey, when you get wrapped up with somebody, make sure that guy has the connections or that lady has the connections that you want. And that's one part about this business that's very small. And we all know each other.
Everybody knows everybody.
And we may not talk a lot, but if I send you a text and say, hey, this kid 2 thumbs up, you're going to look at it. If I send a kid, hey, this kid 2 thumbs down, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the part that there's such a high stakes feel to your ability as a person. And I don't know that I fully blame people. Basketball's, you're in the hotbed of America. You're in Marion County. It's one of the most competitive basketball fields anywhere in the U.S. And so there's that pressure that you carry, I think, that parents carry probably more than kids, of the talent that has to come out of it. And yes, don't get me wrong, you can't not be talented, you can't not put work in, but you can't always let that be the guy, like the top priority list. You've got to get to know the people that you work with, and you've got to build relationships, and you've got to be willing to be vulnerable and listen and take coaching and take criticism and take praise, and not let it, like, it can't dictate who you are. Because that's, to your point, like, we'll get that all the time. Guys want help in recruiting, and you're going to call coaches, or you're going to like you've got to have a better understanding of just than me, like, pointing to your percentages. Like, hey, yeah, he shoots whatever, or he does it. Like, that's great, but, like, you have to have more investment in, like, what are you learning? Who are you learning about? And I just think it's a valid thing. I think it's a valid thing to get caught up in, of just like train. Yeah, I pop in. Yeah, I train. Yeah, I shoot X amount. Yeah, I do X amount. I do whatever. But, like, who are you, and who is the next person getting? Yeah. What's your ability to adapt and adjust and grow and change? Because what you need from a guy or show a guy might align some with if it's one of my guys. Like, but we're still different. You and I are different. So you still have to be able to, like, come into that and not be a robot, or expect people to just know, yeah, you put the physical time in at clock hours. Clock hours is one thing, but it's like, what's the value and the intention behind those, of what you're getting from the work that you put in? Yeah. I think it's a common misconception, and I don't think it's anybody's fault in that nature. It's deeper than.
But it's worth exploring.
It 100% is, and I think that all you're doing is building yourself up by that, and your maturity and your presence and what people are going to get whether it's a high school coach or a college coach or an AAU team, or I think it's applicable to any level of guys of building up more than just statistical focuses on reps and numbers and data.
Yeah.
It's important, but it can't be the only thing you do.
I don't know if this lifespan is still true. It may have gotten less, but the average lifespan is 78 years old. And if you look at the time that you play basketball, that's only 10% of your life that you'll actually be able to play. Right. But yet we treat that like, well, I got 5,000 shots, but what does that translate to the real world?
Correct.
Could you be a boss? Like, can you do this? Can you, do you have the managing skills to make it? Something that I'm going to open up real quick, and something that bothers me, and I don't think I've ever said this on camera, but I always get annoyed when I'm switching gears a little bit mid-sentence. Everybody has their own little twist on things, and that's one thing I teach players of, like, when you work for Coach Glunt, when you're playing for him, like, understand his warm-up, understand what he wants, because when you walk in the gym and you're like, oh man, there's little Johnny, he's always got the drill organized. I don't have to say get going. Like, I guarantee you, in some way, shape, or form, you have the same warm-up. And it may switch. Right. No. We evolve. Yeah. But for me, 2-ball dribbling.
Yep.
If I come in and everybody has 2 balls and they're ready to go. Right. And for you, it may be a layup drill, it might be a warm-up, but there's some kind of system. And when you understand how the head coach works, then that's going to help you gain favor. Yeah. Yeah. And I tell players that all the time of, like, study your head coach, study what he wants, because you know what I want, but what I want may be completely different from what he wants.
Well, that's the line that we balance. So I have those conversations with our guys now. Like, you play an entire season with us, right? And kind of expectations that we have and rhythms and flows that we do. And now you're going to transition out in the spring, and you're all going to go play for, we're going to have probably 8 seniors next year. 6 of them play on different AAU teams. And I'm like, you don't need to go into that AAU program, that team that you're going to play with in the summer. You don't have to go into that and be who you are for this group. It's going to be different. Your roles are going to be different. Your coach's expectations different. You're going to play different. Like, that's okay. Like, and I think it's always good for you. I think it's good for you to, like, have to play a different role for a different group or a combination, or focus on different parts of your game or different skill. Like, you have to be, like, malleable. You just can't be this, like, robot. Like, yeah, he does that for me, and that's all he does for you, and that's all he does was in here. Like, I don't know that that's good for anybody. But you do need to be able to, like, read the room. That's the biggest thing we tell our players. Like, can you pick up what we're putting down? Yeah. Can you read the room? Can you assess? We said this in this past season. Can we enter a game against an opponent, and can you read what's the game telling you that it needs? How it's officiated? What you're having? How you're having success? What are the emotional, like, is it empty? Yeah. Is it freaking sold out? Is it, like, all those things dictate how decisions you have to make and how you'll play. And so you have to be able to adjust and adapt, like, as a player. If you're just the same robot all the time, like, it isn't going to work out, or you're going to get into those moments and be shook. So that's what we tell all the time of, like, can you pick up what I'm putting down? Can you read the room? Have you been paying attention to what the warm-up is? Have you been paying attention to it? They come in here and they get you started every day. Is it the kid that walks in and is waiting for you to tell him it's time to go? Yeah. Or waiting for me every time to say, this is what I need from you today? I'll help you. I will do it, right? Eventually, because as coaches, like, we're gonna meet you where you are and help you. But those that typically, like, rise to the top or are able to continue to ascend are the guys who have picked up what we're putting down and can start to do the things before I've got to remind them, like, all right, guys, 2-ball dribbling. All right, put the balls up when you're done. Like, we'll do that. But if you're the guy that always needs, hey, coach, what do I need to work on? If you're the guy that asks me that every week, I begin to ask, are you listening? Yeah. Are you paying attention? Are you reading? Like, so I think there's a little song and dance to that. Whereas coaches, like, I'm never gonna shut you out and not tell you this is what we need from you. But I also can't continually have to remind you of that, because either you're not listening or you don't like what I'm saying. Yeah. Because you have a different view of what you want it to look like versus what the scenario is calling for. And I think that is, again, that you're as a player, as a growing player, again, regardless of age, as you go, I think your ability as parents, as players, to look at the situation around you and think like, all right, how do I add positive value to this? How do I grow from this? And it probably isn't going to look the same everywhere you go.
As you're speaking, though, this is something that came to my mind. Have you noticed that? I'm not saying all, but I'm painting with a very broad brush. There's going to be a lot of things that I missed in this comment. But have you noticed that a lot of the great coaches are probably shorter and less athletic? Mm-hmm. Like, have you ever met Izzo?
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah.
Roy Williams?
Yeah.
Short. Like, and if you look at it, all the taller players that are more athletic, those are the guys that had coaches hand them stuff like, hey, I need you to come to practice. Hey, it's time to get started. Yeah. Now, the shorter guys are the guys that know, like, okay, if I'm going to get on the court, I need to impress coach, so I'm paying attention. Yeah. Yeah. And they build that work ethic of thinking outside the box and thinking less of like a basketball player and thinking more like a leader.
Not very many people can lead with my physical intangibles. Some can. Some guys can. Yeah. That's the hardest line to draw with this, of like, there are tools, physical builds, there are attributes that are like I can't control as a player. Like I couldn't. There's a reason I played 2 years at Franklin and then worked on staff. There's a reason I did that, right? Like there's other guys that were better than me. Like I couldn't play. I have no shame in that. Like, so not many guys can just lead with show up and I'm just big enough, tall enough, fast enough, good enough. There are people who can do that.
Yeah.
But the vast majority, you can't lead with the basketball skill part of it. You got to lead with your awareness and your presence and what kind of teammate you are, and how do I respond when guys are getting on me and coaching me? Can I take on those challenges? Can I help a teammate? Again, how pliable am I in those environments to say, man, if I really want to just speak to our thing, man, if I really want to carve out a role for myself on this team, there are certain things that we need. And if one of those things might be, we're not going to be real big. Yeah. I think we're going to be really talented, but we're not very big. So one of the things I got to find guys that can do is like, I need guys that can rebound and help protect the paint. Okay? So like, if I'm a guy who's not really in the rotation and I want to try to carve it out, can I help in that? Because if I want to have the ball all the time and shoot all the time, like you're going to be getting in a line that's a lot longer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're not good at those things or you can't do them, but those may be filled by other people right now. And so are you going to fight me on that and be frustrated, or am I going to like, oh, maybe if I do a little more of this now, maybe I can carve a role for myself then, and then things grow and change, right? It's one of the reasons why we were good last year, is I had guys that just leaned into that. Like, when one of our seniors is graduating, like 6'3" kid that has been a guard his whole life, he basically played the 5 all year, and he probably never viewed this is what my experience is going to be like when I go here. I bet he didn't paint that. He didn't paint that as his picture, but this is what we needed. He was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And he did it, and he did a heck of a job at it, and like, it was grinding, and it was really hard, but he was able to create kind of a new experience for him. And as he goes on to play in college, he's going to be better because he spent an entire year doing stuff he probably hadn't spent a ton of time doing.
Yeah.
You're going to be more physical. You're going to understand the game better. It's going to help you improve. But it's that not getting caught up with thinking I have to step into any basketball setting and lead with the skill part of it.
Yeah.
And again, whether that's high school, or I think whether that's AAU, or I think whether that's training. I mean, they come in here and you do a great job of helping kids identify the skill pieces or the athleticism pieces that are required.
Yeah.
They are. But that's not the only part of your business that you do, is you help kids learn how to communicate with coaches or take coaching.
Handle frustration,
how to navigate, how to pivot, that's all part of it. But if you're just clocking in and clocking out, how intentional is your work? That's why I don't value how hard our guys work by how many hours they're in the gym. I don't think you can do a lot of hollow work in the gym if you're not intentional. Or to me, I've always said, if you don't bring somebody with you. Now here, like, you're always going to have people here to work with, but
well, times have changed though too. We didn't have cell phones, so when you were in the gym, you had nothing to do. You may sit down and get a drink of water, but hey, you spend 3 hours in the gym, 45 minutes of it you're on your phone, pushing around. Like,
for sure.
You know, I'm real notorious for like, I got sleep last night. I got 8 hours. No, you scrolled for an hour, and then you fell asleep.
Right.
No, and there's a lot of good things you're saying there, and it's you hit a lot of points, and I'm just like triggering, like, which I think that at a young age, allowing your child to fail, and that's one of the hardest things that people get with me, is I start off with 2-ball dribbling. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. Yeah. But if you let me navigate you through it, and I hear a couple different excuses. It's not applicable to the game, which is false. It absolutely will help. You don't dribble 2 balls in the game. It's too hard. I don't think it's worth it. And so when the parents make those excuses and they walk off, I'm like, you just taught your kid how to handle failure, which is leave. You know, and you see a lot of kids doing that now. Well, I was at Brebeuf and I didn't succeed. I wanted to be the starting point guard. And a stat that I hang my hat on with training, and I say this all the time, 97% of baskets are scored in 3 dribbles or less. Mm-hmm. So if you do all the dribble moves, boom, 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 step back 3, that's only 3% of the game. Mm-hmm. And now if you have somebody that's putting in the other 97 and can be more effective with their dribble, that kid is probably going to be more effective in your program.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it's like basketball is really hard, and if you really want to be a player and you really want to ascend and go, like, it only gets harder. And again, there's a super small percentage of guys who can navigate an actual game on their own and create for themselves at a high level, like where it is combo moves and it is more than 3 dribbles and it is I can go, like that number is incredibly low. So I still think that being able to work on that part of your game, again, like, I think it's helpful. I think all of it is. I think the simplest stuff is helpful. I think the complex stuff is helpful. The ball is in your hands. It's creating comfort with your confidence in how you handle it. It's, if you're doing it right, it's working on your footwork. It's working on your stance. It's working, like, all those things have individual pieces that help you as a player. But again, like, can you then take that and apply it to the game effectively is the hard part.
Yeah.
Right? Like, guys will tell me, like, oh, your guys are working out, they're doing this. Why is he working on cross, tween, sidestep, back, 3? Like, you're never going to shoot that in a game. Like, yeah, if he's smart enough to realize that that's probably not the shot he's going to shoot in the game. That work, though, has a lot of applicable individual pieces to it. It's creating comfort. It's creating confidence. He's good with the ball. He can create separation. Then you got to make that decision, and that's where some of the stuff you're showing me, like decision-making piece to it, right, is like the second layer to things. The first layer to things are the simple: ball handling, footwork, how you catch the ball, how you pass the ball.
Set this up for me real quick. A freshman comes into your program. How, by the time they're a senior, and this is what I'm hearing you say, that you throw the keys to the player and say, take it for a spin.
Yes.
Like, this is your team, this is your experience. Yes. Like, you're going to be coaching, you're going to be navigating.
Yes.
But how do you get somebody from a raw freshman to a senior leader? Like, talk to me about that.
Our biggest thing as you come in is, again, it's a lot of feel as much as it is skill. Right? And so it is like, when you're, how do you navigate a group setting? How do you navigate a group workout? What is your presence like? Like, that helps guys survive as much as an individual skill set. There are intangible things, size, positional needs, those things that all go into things. But it goes back to that. What is your ability to assess what's around you and what's needed? And can you pick up what we're putting down? And I think that that's the biggest thing. And that takes grit and resilience, because, and I don't mean this in a negative way with anybody.
No.
Everybody comes into a situation, again, whether they're training with you or they're coming to a program, they're coming to Brebeuf, we're going to go in there. They have this set vision. This is how it's going to go for me. Oh man, it's going to look just like this. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be at this level. I'm going to be this. I'm going to play this. And you know what? You should. Right? You should have goals. You should have aspirations. You should have the struggle, which is where, like, if people are patient to live through the struggle piece of it, it ain't gonna look like that, and it probably ain't gonna go like that. That doesn't mean it isn't gonna go well. It just means there's a lot of other things that go into, for us, navigating all the way to your senior year and being a player. That a lot of things go into that are outside of your control. who else is there, how you grow, how do you develop, how do other guys develop, what are the team needs, what's the depth. But it isn't going to, it very rarely goes the exact way you want it to.
Yeah.
And I think player, but parental patience of how do I help my young person, how do I help them navigate, like, this isn't going the way I thought it was going to go. How do I adjust? How do I adapt? How do I help them be resilient in maybe being willing to change a little, you know? Yeah. And so I think that's, I got a request the other day from one of my rising seniors to write a letter of recommendation for me. I work as a counselor. I do letter of recommendation for college. He was asking me if I'd write him one. And he has to kind of give me points of like, what do you want me to write about? And he was like, my development as a teammate and a leader. Like that's where we're there to that point now. As a rising senior, it takes a while, but like that's been the change of like coming in of like basketball. Well, now we're beginning to understand like, yeah, but how have I grown as a teammate? How have I grown as a leader on our team? You know, and really the answers to those are how have they impacted other people in our program? And that goes back to reading the room and being willing to allow the picture that's being painted to be different than the one that you expected it to look like.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the biggest thing coming in that is the hardest to understand is and there's a level of trust that comes in as coaches of like, are we leading you in the right direction? I've shifted as I've gotten older in coaching away from more of the tangible things and more into those intangible pieces.
We all do that.
You know, and yeah, it's just age and maturity and failure and, you know, the things to me, like regret is probably what it is. I look back at some of these, I think about Cam, right? We have, you know, Cam all the time. And I always think back to his senior year and I'm like, God, I wish I would have thought then how I think now about like how to help guys grow and evolve and how to put this thing together. But it takes learning through those failures as a coach to like, only if I'm willing to adapt and adjust. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that applies. If I'm rigid,
you have to do the same thing you're asking your players to do.
100%. Like I have to grow. And that's what, I don't know if this makes, not every coach is like this. Like I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
Well, a lot of coaches aren't.
I'm not the smartest guy in the room.
Well,
I don't have to be right all the time. But what I have to be willing to do is work to get it right.
Yeah.
And I think that as players, you have to do that too. Like you don't have to come in and say like, this is who I am and what I do, and this is the only way I do it. If you do that, like you're gonna run into a wall unless you're some elite, whatever. Like, and that's just it's just not the reality. And so, do I meet those barriers with resistance and frustration, or do I meet them with an open mind of like, all right, maybe I should try it to do. Oh, that didn't work last time. Oh, I haven't been finding success here. How can I pivot and adjust? And again, maybe that's as a parent, maybe that's a mindset. Maybe that's how I view the overall picture of where basketball fits into our life. And maybe that's as a player with a skill set or a focus point of their game.
Yeah.
That the underlying commonality with all those things is my willingness and my ability to adjust and adapt and change and grow, which can be. I think it's a really hard thing for people to do, be willing to do.
You say that. Can I tell you how I lose a lot of clients? Mm-hmm. Because they're used to shooting outside, and they're like, oh, I feel great. And then they come and shoot on a Dr. Dish, and they get statistics.
Yeah.
And they're expecting to shoot 90%. Mm-hmm. They're expecting to see it, and then they say 15 to 20 to 30.
Yeah.
And a lot of them leave. And I call the parents and I say, hey, what do you guys think? Well, he's just not shooting that well, so we don't know if it's. And I'm like, you have to fail before you succeed, and that's one thing. It sounds like that you openly allow. Yeah. You want failure,
yes.
And it's not like you're excited, but you also realize that failure is part of growth. Yeah. I was at the Final Four, and I had this amazing conversation that blew my mind with Paul Swanson. He was a mentor of mine, and he asked the question of their success. What's the opposite of success? Everybody says failure. Right. No. Failure is part of success. That's the step to get to success. Right. The opposite of success is quitting. Mm-hmm. And so many people forget that failure. and that's what I knew the answer of, like, mm-hmm. you have to let your freshmen fail. You have to let them snap on somebody. Yes. And yeah, I'm not condoning fighting, but you know, there's going to be a little scuffle. Yes. You pull them in and you say, hey, that was stupid. We don't do that.
Right.
And you punish appropriately, but then you learn. And I feel like society that we have now is that failure is an automatic, you're a terrible person. Failure is a quitter. Failure is not success.
Yes, right? Like it's absolving blame and protecting, right? Of finding like if failure occurs, whose fault is it? And so I think that there's a lot of like, and as parents, and I'm not saying I won't do this the same. I got 2 young daughters, and I try to not, but like I'm sure I'm like this as a parent too, of like protecting them and shielding them from those things. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't to a degree, but there's a method of like, there are don't get me wrong, there are levels to this.
Yeah.
There are the environment that you create as a coach, and that's the number one thing I'm charged with. Where I've pivoted my complete thing from as an assistant to a head coach of like I'm in charge of the scout and the offense and tangible. Well, what I'm in charge of now is the environment that I create that my players are in. That's what I'm in charge of. One where everybody feels welcomed and feels challenged to grow, but it's not a guarantee that you're going to succeed or succeed all at the same rate, right? We're going to walk into the year this year with 40 kids that walk in the gym as incoming freshmen that have aspirations to be on the team. I can't keep 40 people, right? And like, that's a reality of it, the situation. And so the level of failure varies, and we get hung up in fairness of like, well, why does he and why did not? And they want like running from it or looking to point blame. That's the challenge. And I'll say this too, like we're in this new age, right? And there's more opportunity for families to find better fits, whatever that is. We've had guys transfer out and leave, and we've had guys do that and find success at a different stop. Like that's a reality. I don't want anyone to leave, but at the same time, if it doesn't work or the competition is a different way where they don't feel that the opportunity was going to be available at an early enough time that they wanted, then those are decisions that they're going to make, right? And I don't know that they're all wrong. I don't think so. Some of these it's going to work out great. And I just think that like you're in this, we've created this sense of opportunity. It's going to be labeled as opportunity. I don't really know if that's what it is, but it's labeled as opportunity to, if it doesn't work here, I can just go somewhere else. And again, I don't know that that's wrong. And I don't even know if I would define that with yours. Like, I don't think I would call that quitting.
No.
I really don't think that I would. But I think that goes back to the whole deal of like, all right, let me as a parent assess the surroundings and the situations. Can they, and again, as a coach, am I able and willing to give honest enough feedback that's always the thing I find hard, right? I struggle with it. I'm a counselor by trade. I just am a little more emotionally driven than maybe some coaches. Sometimes I wish I was a little more rigid and didn't care, but I just do. That's just how I'm wired. But to be able to give feedback and talk with families and talk with parents and not have it be viewed as tearing them down.
Yeah.
Coaching a lot of times gets misconstrued with us tearing kids down, and it's not. It's honest feedback, and it's can you frame it in a way as a coach that is honest, that there are realities to situations where it might not be the greatest fit for a variety of reasons, whether your training facility is right for somebody or not. You know what I mean? Like it isn't, or my program's right for somebody or not, or the sport is right for somebody or not. Like it isn't, but a lot of times it gets attacked whenever you give that feedback as blame. And I think as parents, it's really hard you have to model that with your kid of how do you navigate failure.
Yeah. It's interesting because I had a dad come to me yesterday, and what he said was true, but how he said it, I don't want to say offense, but I don't know a better word, so I'm going to say the word offense. Sure. I took offense to it because he asked me, why did you lose faith in my son? And I was like, first off, if I lost faith in your son, he wouldn't be wearing my jersey. Right. That's faith, but he goes, well, the playing time. And I had to step away. I had to go step somewhere. When I got back, I'm like, hey, let's reconstruct that of like, did I lose faith? But that's such a powerful word of like, you lost faith in my son. No, it's not that. Yeah. But in that moment, I didn't trust him in that moment. That's different than losing faith. Yeah. But maybe, truth be told, he had a couple bad turnovers. He got his head down, and then it wasn't the failure that got him benched. It was his reaction to the failure. Right. And you coach, point guard turns the ball over, puts his head down, got to get him out.
Yeah.
Now, same point guard turns the ball over and comes and pins it off the backboard.
Right.
You're like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
Let him roll. Let him cook.
Yeah.
We do that.
Yes. Basketball, I love it, right? Obviously, you coach it. It's your livelihood. It's part of my livelihood.
It's not a hobby.
No, and it's hard, man. And that's what I have to resonate as kids come over. It's hard, and it's not golf, right? There's not a certain number that you shoot that says, oh, yep, you're number 3 and you're in the depth chart. It's not track.
Yeah.
There's not everything is a tangible, well, this week I made 80 out of 100 threes, and a coach set a goal that if I make 80% of my threes this week, I get to play 12 minutes. That's not how it works, man. Everybody wants to play more.
Yeah.
And so as you earn a role on a team or playing time or different, there's an opposite side to that. I don't have unlimited minutes or unlimited rotations, and as one person plays more, someone else plays less. And so basketball, in that way, basketball is very unforgiving in that with every ascension of someone, there's a decline of someone else. It's viewed like that, especially in young minds with young people, of oh, Johnny gets to go in and he gets to play 6 minutes. Well, when he goes in, I come out, and as soon as I come out, I don't want to be out. I want to go in, right? And so you have to, again, we just spend so much time in our program, it's okay to be happy for someone else's successes.
Yeah.
And in basketball, it's going to be incredibly difficult because there will be a time when you have to sacrifice for that, right? And basketball can be very cutthroat, especially coming up if you try to find your way or make a team and it's very unforgiving, basketball, in that way. It's, as much as I love it, that there's a part of it that there are some tangible things to it that you can't work around. But it's not always just about you.
Yeah.
Right? And so someone struggles, they don't play as much, they don't start, someone else starts, and it might be because you're not doing something. It might also be because somebody else is doing something and producing and finding success. How do I operate in a space where someone else around me is having success, and that success is helping the whole that I'm a part of? Can you see any value in that?
Yeah.
Some people can't. Some people, if it's not them doing it or them getting what they want to go find something different. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that's the incorrect answer in every situation. But I still think, even when we talk about this now, it still goes back to the underlying deal. I've got to evolve and adjust and kind of look around oh damn, he is. That's how I know guys in our program have made it. When I go to make a sub or a change and they look at me and say, no, leave him out there. I have guys do that. No, leave him out there. He's cooking. He's playing great. Guys will tell you that because that tells me that they have been able to step back and say, oh, she's helping us. This is good. We're going to find success here.
Yeah.
Right? And being part of success and winning and positivity, it looks different and requires different things from different people, and it's not always going to be me being the one creating it. But you have to, as a player and as a basketball player and as a parent, you have to be able to find ways to add positive value to what you're a part of.
Yeah.
Whether it's as much as you want, or it looks the way that you want, or is the picture painted in your mind that you thought it was going to be, is it going to be the exact same? Again, I'm just telling you it's not. But there are still ways in which you add value as a parent to your son or daughter's experience, as a player to your team's experience, as a customer to your experience, right? And to yours as a business owner that you're providing a service to people. We're not out here to get them. I'm not trying to screw anybody over. Nobody's out to get you.
I think that's a big thing that a lot of the good coaches, I'm not saying all coaches, sure. I'm saying the good coaches. I genuinely want everyone to win.
Yes.
I want you to win. I want Scott McClellan to win. I want you guys to all, I would love for you guys to all come back and say, hey, I had a 1,000% record. I won every single game, 28-0. Guess what?
Yeah. They don't work like that.
One team wins, the other team loses.
Right.
We went 28-2. Guess what?
Right.
Some other team went 2-28.
Right.
That's how this thing operates. Not everyone can win.
No, and that's what I try to take a lot of pride in as a coach, and it gets a lot of my energy, is your participation in our program. it's open facility right now. It's open facility in June. It's open facility in the fall. Like we're providing basketball service and opportunity for more people than are going to be able to make the roster. Mm-hmm. Can you exit your experience with us if you don't make our team and have gained some kind of positive value?
Yeah.
Have you, whether you make it or not, and that's the part that's like the worst freaking part about coaching is building the roster. So absolute worst, as you tell people, hey, thanks but no thanks, or it ain't gonna work out, and and again that leads to. But here's what happens. Sometimes it leads to transfer. Sometimes it leads to, you know what? I'm like, I'm playing basketball. I might wrestle this year. Let me try lacrosse in the fall. And like I've got experience of that. Someone that gets cut and it was the worst experience, and I was the worst person, and I was this, that, and the other. And I'm going to try lacrosse this spring. Lacrosse wins a state championship, and that person plays on that team and has that experience. It opened a different door that I know people pour into basketball from diapers to forever, and you spend all this time. But don't forget that what you're learning and gaining as a person in the experience is not just basketball.
Yeah.
You're learning how to navigate, like we talked about before, like there are other things to it, so that when the clock runs out for basketball, for some people it's LeBron, 41, the clock didn't run out. Other people's clock runs out, man, when they are a freshman.
25.
Your clock runs out at 14. Sometimes your clock runs out, man. And like, if all you've done has been outcome focused, you can go to the old like coach's term, you're not focused on the process, but you're just focused on the outcome. I'm very much like that too. Like, I'm very process oriented. Like, can you figure out why I'm telling you how we're coaching you, the relationships, the teammates, the evolution, like it's helping you grow as a person. Basketball just happens to be the vehicle that it's in. That when that vehicle breaks down and it no longer goes, that's why your identity just can't be, I would tell kids all the time, don't come here to buff. Don't come here just to be a basketball player. Yeah. Don't do that. It's the worst thing you can do if you're just like, all I want to do is be a hooper. Sounds great, and I'm glad that you love it, and I'm glad you'll work at it. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to miss out on all the great things that our school has to offer, and you're going to miss out on all the great things basketball can teach you that aren't just basketball. Not saying that's easy, not saying it's pleasant, not saying any of that as parents. Like, but there's just so much more to it. And again, as I've aged and got into that, like, it's probably my number one focus as a coach now. The environment that I create. What are you learning? What are you picking up? How are others impacting you? How are you impacting others? We're going to do our first, as the freshmen come in June 1st will be our first, like, where we'll actually have everybody in there. And one of the things we'll do in the end, like our 8 seniors at the end of our first workout are going to spend time with all of our freshmen and talk to them about like, hey, here's some expectations that we have as a program for how you show up and your intentions. And this is how we can help you. How can I help you? How can I help somebody else? And so just trying to create that environment where guys know there's opportunity there and you're going to be pushed. I don't know how it's going to turn out for you. I don't make promises. I don't make any, like, because that's not what it's about. That's not you're missing the whole point if it's like, I want it to look just like this and it's going to be basketball only and this is how my experience is going to be dictated by how my basketball experience is. Okay, but good luck.
Yeah.
Okay, but good luck. And I think that's the world that we're entering as basketball changes and evolves and youth sports changes and evolves. That's a harder and harder thing to make a priority.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit like I'm kind of fighting like a dinosaur a little. But I've kind of committed myself to like, I'm not going to quit. I'm not quitting it. Like, I'm just not. Like, that's just how that's how we're going to operate. And it's going to be really hard. Good thing is, what basketball has taught me as I've come up in coaching and playing, whatever, like, you just got to get better at doing hard stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to run and change. I'm just going to learn how to. That's one of our mottos for this year's past team, or this last year's team. We got pretty good at doing hard stuff. And that's what gives me hope into this next year of like, I try to make things as basketball hard as possible.
Yeah.
Because that's how you grow. Because you fail and you learn and you don't run back in the same way. You evolve and you change and you have to lean on your teammate and you lean on me and I've got to lean on you. We have to work together and we have to be better problem solvers, right? And so that's what I hope I'm teaching as a coach. How to be a problem solver, how to evolve, how to be resilient, how to recover from failure. Can I model that? Can I put you in situations where you can learn how to do that? oh yeah, and by the way, you kind of got to be able to make a shot or get a rebound or guard somebody, right? Those are the physical tools that kids. It's still part of the game. I don't want to act like you can just come in and be a really great human and stink at basketball. And like there are limits and levels to this. Don't get me wrong. I tell our guys, as much as I harp on this as a program and as a coach, I'm not trying to lose.
Yeah.
The competitor in me, the chess piece and the move and the challenge, like is still, that's one of the things that drives me. Is like so there are limits and levels to things. We all can't just be really great gung-ho guys that love each other. Like we have to do that, but we can't do that and not be good at basketball. Like you also have to have some edge to you, right? Or maybe you got guys that maybe have a little too much edge, right? But you need that, and you also need to learn how to use it to help you and to help the product. And it can't be detrimental, and it can't be over the top, and it can't be all the time. And time and place is a very important life skill.
The things that scare me the most as a coach is when somebody loses and they're fine with it. Like that scares the crap out of me. Of like, well, okay, well let's go grab some food and go grab Jimmy John's and do this. And I'm like, the ones that I like, and this was really good at Morristown when a kid didn't perform as well as he should have. Next day we woke up, he was in the gym working in the morning, and like it motivated him. I've been in part of programs, and I think you coached against me when I was in a program that just didn't care about winning, and I was banging my head on the wall, and you just. Right. Paul, you look frustrated. I'm like, yeah, I want it more than the players.
Yeah.
And you can't have that.
No. And your care, I think that your care about winning comes as players, as young people, as you work with young people, like it comes with their relationship with one another.
Yeah.
And some kids are, you get scared of confrontation with teammates, but you got to learn what are the intentions of the confrontation, right? Of like, someone who maybe isn't quite as torn down after you get beat. You're gonna have players that are really downtrodden. Like, can they come together to grow and learn that we don't have to win every game to have a successful year, but you're trying to win at life and succeed and go. There has to be a competitive edge to that where you understand like I'm not outcome driven, but outcomes matter in the real world. I can't not show up to work. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got things I have to do in my day job, and just because I don't feel like doing them, that's your adult stuff. It's this idea that like you got to find that competitive edge. I do think you can find it. I think it's natural in some people. They're just kind of driven, motivated, more competitive by nature. There's a lot of nurture in that with parenting as well, but there are some kids who aren't wired like that. Can I get them around kids who are? And then can you work together to help, like, again, for us to operate at an optimal level, I need you all to work together. With coaching staff, we had jokes about this all the time. We played people, planning and game planning and scouting reports we put together of like, we've played people where like they call out every set we're running, but there's no plan to handle the set. They just call out the action. I'm like, well, you're not doing anything. I'm glad you know that we're about to run this, but like we're also about to score because there's no plan. Like, so just because I I put a kid who really wants to win with a kid who maybe isn't as driven to win, like just because I put them in the same room together, it doesn't mean there's a plan. Like you got to impact one another, and you got to lean into it. So again, just because you are driven to help somebody improve, and the kid who comes in here who maybe is a little bit meek or shy, or maybe the parents are driving them, why I'm here is because my mom and dad want me to come in here and work out, and like maybe the kid isn't. So, but just because you want to help him get better, and he maybe doesn't understand how to want to get better yet, just because you're in the same room doesn't mean anything's going to happen. Back to that relationship piece you talked about. Just because you're in the gym or you're present with somebody doesn't mean that you're making an impact or you're being impacted. That doesn't automatically, it's not osmosis, right? And so there's two sides to it. And again, as you think about parents and you think about kids coming in as they grow and they move up the ladder, like it's a two-way street, the relationships that you build and what you put into them. It's not just the coach's responsibility to build the relationship. Maybe we drive it because we're the adult, right? Yeah. We model, we set the tone. But like you gotta reciprocate a little bit, and you gotta give back. Like I said, like I will continue to tell you what you need to do every day as a coach, but if I always have to do that, it probably isn't going to end very well.
Well, here's the other part, though, is like whatever you focus on grows. And if you could stop focusing on that, then you could put your attention somewhere else.
100%.
And So for me as an assistant, whenever I go into a program, I don't talk for the first 2 months. Like if I was ever on staff for you, I wouldn't talk. And everyone's like, well, you're going to get in lead. I'm like, no, I got to figure out what you're saying to people. And in going into the coaching world, again, how I treat a playing is how I treat coaching is, if you're saying something, I don't need to say it anymore. It's already been said.
Right.
One thing that drives me nuts is I go into a coach, I watch practice, you say something, your assistant says the same thing. And I'm like, you guys just all said the same thing 3 different ways. Doesn't work. Right. And when I was with Mac, this happened one time. He gave me a job. My job was to track rebounds, 50-50 balls, and help side defense. That was my 3 possessions. He came to me one time in a game, goes, what are matchups? And I was in the heat of the moment, probably to handle. I'm like, don't ask me, that's not my job. Right. And I knew my job. Right. I knew my job. Right. And I very well could have taken over that. Well, I think this, and this. Right. I can't perform my job well because I'm focusing on this. Right. You can't perform your job well if you're telling kids how to tie their shoes.
Right. Right. If that's the level of instruction that we are at, finding success at the level you want to is going to be really hard to do.
Yeah.
There are, again, and the hardest part about it is you're in the hotbed of America for basketball. And fortunate, I've been at Brebeuf when we had to walk the halls to ask people to try out. We didn't have enough, or this kid wasn't playing. I'd go, fine, will you please play basketball? I've been there when we had to do that. That's not where we are right now.
Yeah.
I'm not. So if you can't come in with some kind of or haven't been paying attention, that's where the move on comes from, is the baseline things that if I can't understand and pick up that there's a way I got to show up and a way I got to carry myself. And again, that comes from our instruction. It comes from our seniors. It comes from guys who've been in the gym. One of the biggest things we say in our exit meetings at the end of every season is when you show up the next year, you better look like a senior. You better look like a junior. You better look like a sophomore. And that better look like you've been in here before. You understand the expectations. You understand, I'm not this crazy drill sergeant guy all the time. I have been at times in different, but that's just not who I am. I love to have a good time. I love to joke around. I love to build relationships, and I'm in the building in a different capacity. When kids see me in the hallway, they don't see coach. Some of them call me coach, but that's not who I am in that moment. I'm your counselor. I'm building schedules. I'm helping kids through, difficult situations. I'm not the same person. But when I show up for us to work, you got to be able to turn that dial and so we can have a good time. We can build relationships and trust each other, and we can compete at a really high level. It's taken 4 years for me to feel like the second half of last year, we really started to turn the page in our ability to this isn't just show up and hoop and have a good time because coach isn't yelling at me, telling me everything I have to do every second or where to be. There's freedom to a degree in our program where we're going to put you in situations to be successful, but we have a lot of talented guys who put in a lot of time who I want to play to their strengths and allow them to have some personality when we play. But it's not just I get to do whatever I want all the time. Now, there's a learning curve to that. A lot of guys will struggle through that a little bit and not really understand why opportunities haven't come about because I'm not taking the right risk at the right time. Risk assessment is very big in our program of do I know the appropriate times and places to take that chance of things I've worked on or things I'm there's opportunities to find those, but it's not just whenever I want.
Yeah.
But because of that, you better have in your training and development and your come up as a young kid, you better have worked on that presence piece. Am I listening? Can I pick it up? Can I do it? You better do that. Because if not, if you're just sitting in the back, like a lot of young nervous freshmen would be what do I do next? If you get stuck in that, there's too many other guys that don't get stuck in that it'll be really hard.
Yeah.
Right. And so you don't just that confidence for not some kids just naturally have it, but for most kids, they don't just naturally have that presence. So that better be part of what you're working on.
Yeah.
It's part of your development. It's part of your, when kids come in here to train and work out with all the guys that you have here, are they being pressed to respond and ask questions? And again, hey, you get the warm up started. Do you have guys all those little things are more valuable than people realize.
Oh.
Probably in my mind, more valuable than did you shoot 85 out of 100 today or whatever the number is, whatever the goal is for guys. That is a necessary piece of it But things that I think put you in a different stratosphere is if I can show up and I've got the ability to, again, all those things I talk about, are you coachable? Somebody uses that generalized term, am I coachable? To me, that's part of my definition of it. What's your ability to assess and read the room and understand and use your voice and again, like impact others and be impacted by others? That's, if I'm looking for somebody who's coachable, not can I yell at you and you play through it.
Yeah.
It's part of it, but I think a lot of times that gets, can I cuss somebody out and they don't pout? Like, yeah, that's part of it, but that's not really what I mean.
No, I have a very talented offensive player. However, in games, this kid keeps on getting popped on screens. Not hard screens, not like, oh my gosh, you got your clock clean. Like, he touches it and he stops. I'm like, no, this is not a game of tag.
Right.
Like, he just doesn't tag and then you run into the screen. You have to fight over it. You have to do something.
Yeah.
And I'm not screaming at him. I'm not cussing, but sometimes he gets benched. Well, why'd I get benched? Oh, because you keep on running into the screen.
Yeah.
And we worked out in practice. And you keep doing it. So now I know you can do it. Now you're refusing to do it.
Right.
And that's the coachability part. I don't cuss. I don't scream. I don't yell. I just
I've really calmed down over the years because there are times where it's effective and helpful as a motivator and helpful as an energy producer to like kind of get on the group, or I really try to stay away from like get on individual players. I mean, kids, I don't really, but like group, I will. But again, we're finally to the point where like there's an expectation that if you keep getting hung up on this screen up top because you're not handling our ball screen coverage correctly, you're going to come out. And if you're going to continually not be able to navigate that, like you can't play, man. And you can't play because we need to navigate it, and guess what? Someone else can. And so that's where, like, what's the bounce back from that? You can't just, we have a thing in our program, like I really try to draw a difference between kids who try hard and kids who work hard, right? The try hard is the sweat, the run, the dive on the floor, the run through a screen, but like those things aren't necessarily leading to productivity. The kid that runs into the screen every time and gets an offensive foul or can't navigate, right? But she sure as heck is running fast and running into people. Like, yeah, that's great, man, but you're not really playing hard because it's not leading to production. The kid that dives on the loose ball every time, like, yeah, that's great, man, but if you dive on the loose ball and just roll out of bounds, like, it doesn't help us.
Yeah.
Or I jump and I steal the pass and I'm going out of bounds and I throw it over my head towards their basket and they catch it and score. Like, oh, like, there's no awareness to, like, that didn't actually help us. So we really try to delineate, like, that's your adaptability and your adjustment, and that's how you need help from others and be impacted by others, of like, while I'm working hard, it needs to result in production because there's a certain way we do stuff or a certain way you want them to execute something, right? So we really I got a lot of kids but trying hard is the baseline.
Yeah, trying hard is there, but
so people will come to me, parents will come to me, kids, man, he's really playing hard. I'm like, I'm not sure he's playing hard. He's trying hard, but he isn't playing hard. Like, and there's elements to, and again, we use this a lot too, like, what are your intentions? You have to have intentions and a plan and understand what we're doing. And some kids, it's a little harder for them to process the plan because the energy from them that is required to try hard, it takes all the space. And then I can't try hard and process what I need to do, right? To the mental side of the game.
Yeah.
Go back to what you showed me out there, your ability to like not be a robot, right? To be able to see and have to react to that is not an innate skill. It's got to be learned and trained, and it's more than just the ability to handle the ball. It's to be able to do the right thing with the ball.
Yeah.
Right. And again, that a lot of times is too secondary for me. It's just everybody is skill led and not mental and development and evolution led in terms of who they are and who they're becoming.
Yeah, and one of the worst things you could hear as a coach and as a player is like, well, we've always done that.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not it. Just because you always done it doesn't mean it's always good.
No.
Have you always gotten those results?
No.
And you see a lot of people that try that one thing and it doesn't go well.
Right.
Good stuff, man.
I appreciate you, brother. Like again, like we talked about, it's a kind of a theme of what we've been going through. It's an evolving and it's a changing landscape. It's a changing game, and you just can't be stuck in this is how I think it goes all the time, and I never evolve. You can't. If you do, see you later.
Well, if you would have seen me train a decade ago compared to how I train now, There's some non-negotiables. Like for
Right.
me, I'm a two-hand finish.
Yep.
I will fight that fight.
Yep.
I finish one hand when I play, but when I train, I'm always picking up two hands, and that's a non-negotiable for me. But there's things and concepts that I steal from people.
Yes.
I mean, there's some drills that I stolen from IBCA clinics and come to practices. But as a coach, you have to evolve. But we're expecting our players to evolve. The good coaches are evolving.
Parents have to evolve.
Parents have to evolve.
I think it's you find the most success when all three things are in alignment. The parents are malleable and can evolve. The player can evolve. The coach can evolve. And what you end up creating is an environment where you are learning how to utilize your strengths. I tell my kids all the time, your game has to evolve and develop, but also don't forget to be really good at what you're really good at.
Yeah.
Don't forget to do that too.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be really good at what you're really good at. Just don't let that be all you do.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's where we found the most success is when families kind of have that mindset that you got to be open to change and open to growth, open to development, and kind of be willing for the path to maybe not look like you always hoped or wanted or dreamed or whatever. The path is going to look different. Doesn't mean you won't end up exactly where you are. I mean, you probably go ask guys like Evan Haywood, right, who is at Butler and is at Pepperdine now and played for us. It was an Indiana All-Star, and he got to that point. And I always say, hey, he was a freshman B team guy when he got here at Brebeuf. Like, I'm sure his path through Brebeuf didn't look like he thought it was going to look. Doesn't mean it can't still be good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It still doesn't mean you won't end at the same spot. It just, you got to be willing for it to look and be different. Because I can never promise you how it's going to look, but I can promise you what you're going to experience and what you're going to go through and what we're going to prioritize in your development as a person and as a player. I can promise you those things.
Yeah.
I can't promise you how it turns out.
Let me ask you this real quick, and then last question, then we're out of here. All right. You wake up tomorrow. You're the commissioner of basketball in America. You get to pass one rule. One rule. You could. I'll throw some examples.
Okay.
Some people said 4-point line. Some people have said you have to have a mechanical coach for every program. Some people have said have talked about mental health. The one I like is, do we have a gather step or do we not? Is it a travel or is it not? Make all the rules universal. What rule would you pass and why?
Man. God. A universal basketball rule.
Universal basketball rule. And it could be as simple as middle school has to do this. You could pinpoint one specific thing.
That I'll say this, my daughters did this a little bit. I'm a big proponent of younger ages. You can set the bar wherever you want. 3rd grade and below. I think basketball should start 3-on-3 and not 5-on-5.
I love it.
I think more touches. I think more understanding of space. I think more learning that there are responsibilities that you have to be engaged and you don't get lost in play. I think 5-on-5 even at those ages has value because you learn as you grow.
Yeah.
But more of a soccer model. Soccer 4-on-4, then 7-on-7, then 9-on-9, then 11-on-11. I think at those younger ages, as you teach the game, more space, fewer people, more touches, more responsibility, more engagement, and less chaos. I think grows our more kids understand how to play and are not observers and stand back. I think it creates more kids that have more outer willingness when they play. I'm not finding the right words there.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you. You did awesome today.
Appreciate you.
Hey,
Thanks, man.
if you made it this far, obviously you heard something you like. And this is something we say all the time. If you disagree with something we said, drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
Well, I'll bring it back on. We'll argue about it. I'll play devil's advocate. I don't mind taking up the wrong side just to argue. Make sure you subscribe. If you heard something valuable for you, make sure you share this with a friend. Let them find some value in it as well. And Coach, good luck this year.
Appreciate you.
Good luck this summer.